Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another YouTube video by Southern Minnesota TV. I'm Clint Scalos, and today you're joining me while I work on the three-wheeler again. Today we're going to be doing some fab work to the three-wheeler. I want to have rear fenders, just kind of redneck fenders. They're not going to be super nice. I have a new front end coming for it, so I can have a bigger wheel on and a more stable front forks and everything. So that's going to be upgraded because, as you guys have seen from the previous three-wheeler videos, that front wheel is tiny. And we're going to be fixing that today. But first off, we're going to work on those fenders that I said. Let's get right to it. So I took the seat off already because I'm going to be welding. I don't want to start that seat on fire. And I pre-bent these 3/4 inch circular tubing. Really, it's pretty simple design. It's going to go on there, something like that. Just to kind of have a fender. I got these super cheap little Coleman fenders. I might just mount them onto these brackets or whatever you would call them. So if that goes on there like that, then this would just go on there like that. Kind of be a really small fender. As you can see, it's super small compared to the tire, but I think it'll do a little bit to help. Might look good too, might not. So yeah, weld that up, and the one for the other side. Something like that. Get welding. So there's the fenders welded on. I'm not going to bring you too close to the welds because, well, they're terrible. I don't know how to weld. But yeah, as you can see, I put the brace all the way across the two. Made it a lot stronger. If you look at it from the front, you can notice how lopsided they are. But you really don't notice it from this angle. Or even from the back. It's a little bit lopsided, but not as bad as from the front. Anyway, it's just homemade a thing. It's not perfect. But then we had this brilliant idea. Because at first I wanted to just use these little Coleman mini bike fenders on there. But they're really dinky and small. So now I cut this piece of plastic up and it goes on there like that. Quick break in the video to mention Measure by Design, who made this nice hat. I got it for free as long as I advertised for him. Yeah, I think it's a good deal. All I have to do is wear it, and I got a free hat. Hit them up for all designing needs like t-shirts, hats, and stickers, and much more. So I've got the 2 plastic fenders cut. They fit pretty nice. I have 4 holes drilled into the metal. I just plan to zip tie it that way for now, just temporary. Maybe later I'll rivet them in or something. But I just want to see how it looks, how it's going to turn out. Yeah, those are going to be my 2 fenders. Those 2 right there. I think it's turning out really good. Fenders on the 3-wheeler. Jeepers. Looking good. Just pieces of plastic that I cut. Fit the shape of the metal fender that I made up. And then there's just 4 zip ties holding it on for right now. Probably just a temporary thing, but looking good. I like it. Rear fenders on this thing. That wheel is way too small for this. It needs to have a bigger wheel. So I ordered this up. This will fit that bigger wheel, 8-inch wheel. Yeah, gonna do a few upgrades, a few fixing to this because as you can see, the welds are cracked and it's not going too good for this front end. Yeah, I already have everything taken off the handlebars. The throttle, the brakes, the grips. Yeah, getting ready to take this front end off and throw this new front end together, and hopefully that'll lift the whole thing up. Just the longer forks itself, and then also the bigger wheel. Hopefully this is gonna look a lot better. I've been waiting to do this. So now that I've got the whole front end removed and I have this bigger front end from a mini bike for an 8-inch wheel that I want to put on there. And since the welds are cracked on here, both sides, I would like to change the setup, make it a little bit better. So I might be doing lots of grinding and cut the welds off here so I can take that off and maybe try and redo it a little bit better this time. I think that's the plan. I think I'm also gonna take the engine off before I do that, because there's oil in it and gas in the tank, and I just don't want all the sparks, you know, igniting stuff. So that's gonna come off. Well guys, I don't know if I made the right choice or not, but I cut this front end off that I made previously. The welds were all broken on the top. It was only hanging on by these bottom two. The whole front end was. The top two weren't doing anything. The welds just broke. So if I wouldn't have noticed that, we would have drove it any longer, the whole front end would have just fell off. That would have been really bad. But now I've spread these apart more. And I think that's gonna go on there like that. It is actually really a steep angle. I think it probably should be like that. But this is how it worked out, how I cut it, and I think it's gonna be nice for high speeds. It's gonna be more stable at high speeds. But just look at the length difference between the old one and this new one. So I think this should be a lot better, a lot longer. All right, I wanted to show you guys the difference between the old forks that I had on it and the new forks. See how much wider these new ones are, fit the bigger tire. And you can definitely notice the height difference. So it's gonna ride a lot higher, I think, because it's also gonna have a bigger front wheel than what this had. So I think it should really help raise that front end up on the three-wheeler. All right, I have partially assembled the front end. Like, some of it doesn't have nuts on it at all. Some of it's just finger tight. Yeah, it's just temporary to see what it's gonna look like, what it's gonna feel like. But that's the new front end. You can definitely see how much of an angle that front end's on. Yeah, it's quite a bit of an angle, and that tire is not gonna quite reach the ground. Those blocks are a little bit high, so it's gonna sit a little bit lower than that yet, but it's looking pretty good, I think anyway. So what I did here was I made this bar that goes from way down there up to in between here. Don't look at the welds too closely, they're pretty bad, but that just hopefully will make it a lot stronger, because I weigh over 200 pounds and I don't want nothing breaking while I'm riding it. That'd be bad. But anyway, I wasn't really thinking about the engine fitting in here when I put that rod in there, because I had the engine out, of course. So I go to put the engine back in now, and it won't go forward anymore. And you see how much further to get that hole into there I have to go. Probably just over an inch, and it's tight up there. So this gas tank is not gonna work anymore. I'm gonna have to come up with something different for the gas tank. Alright, well, I was messing around with the wiring. Ended up that I pulled the wire right out of the switch, and then it's an old switch and I'm too stupid to figure out how it works. So when I took it out and tried to figure out how it works, I didn't understand it. And I just threw the whole thing away. We're gonna shut it off by pulling this off, the spark plug fluid off the spark plug. I don't think I'm gonna run this engine very much longer on the three-wheeler. I'm building a different engine that hopefully runs good, and I can put on here and it'll make more horsepower, hopefully. So for now, that's just gonna have to work since I'm not smart enough to figure out that switch. But now we can throw it back on the frame over there and see once, if it clears that metal tube that I put on there. Okay, it's on there. I think that the bolt holes are gonna line up. Yep, bolt holes are gonna line up. I think it's gonna work. So this is a catch can. I think I'm gonna use it for a gas tank because, well, gas tanks are like $80, $90 to even $100 on Amazon. And this is pretty much the same size, same gallons. And yeah, this is way cheaper. This is $35, I think. So I think I'm gonna use it as a gas can instead of a catch can. This is gonna be nice. It'll tell me how full the tank is of gas. I'll have a fitting down here in the bottom for a 1/4-inch fuel line. I think I'm gonna use that because the factory gas tank won't fit on here. And so I just threw the front end back on, just loosely. The nut's not even on the main steering bolt shaft thing. And I was thinking about putting this gas tank right there, but that's not gonna work because see if I can do this while holding the phone. If you spin the steering, it's hard to do it with only two hands. But anyway, the forks hit the gas tank there, so it's not gonna work. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's still a possibility to put it there. But I think the best possibility, or the best option, is to actually mount it under the fender. Just like that. Cut a hole through the top of the fender to fill it with gas. Run my gas line down up against the fender and then into the carburetor. But tell me what you guys think in the comments, if that's a good idea, being that it's right next to this tire that could be throwing rocks everywhere. Maybe that's not a good idea, I don't know. Comment down below where you think it should go. It really doesn't fit anywhere else. Can't put it there. That don't work. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. But I am waiting for the tire to come for the front end and a bushing for this so it doesn't wobble around like that. Yeah, just waiting for a couple things before I can throw it together. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. And please like and subscribe. See ya.